Disappointed. Obviously, we didn't get the job done. Obviously, the team was better prepared, and we came out. And I know you're wondering how this happened. I am too. And we give up a big play to start the game. We're going to find a way to get it fixed. I don't have an answer right now at this point, but it's coming, and we got to play much better, and we're capable of playing much better. But give San Luis State that they did what they needed to do. They were well prepared. So I'll start taking questions.
Are you over to my kid?
It's just had the current combination of no pressure on the quarterback and then the receivers all open underneath. Kind of what happened on that?
Well, they did a good job getting rid of the ball quickly, and it's hard when it's all, not all, but a lot of quick game. It's coming out quick, and receivers did a good job of running routes and getting open and getting the ball. I think we made some adjustments at halftime that made it a little bit better for us, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, and we didn't get anything that we didn't expect, to be honest with you. In terms of their attack, we knew they were going to get rid of the ball quick. The quarterback was going to get it out of his hands. We knew they had a receiver coming back that's a dynamic player, and so there's not anything that we didn't know. We just didn't play well enough, and we didn't coach well enough. And when I say we didn't play well enough, that's not, understand this. It's not putting it on the players. It's on me. We got to prepare. We got to prepare them, and we got to have them ready for every situation that can happen. And
Well, hello. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. And when you hear audio from very dejected defensive coordinator John Chavis, not the performance that he anticipated. And I don't think it's the performance a lot of people anticipated defensively. I mean, I'm going to admit, Demetrius, and I'm going to bring in my co-host and get his take on this as well, but you guys listened to me a lot during fall camp. You heard me talk about how I felt like the defense would be the strength and the defensive line would be the strength of the team. The front seven would be real tight. Not the case. When you go back and you look at this past weekend's game, you see more and more and more very disturbing instances. I mean, we always talk about it was I'm a believer it's 50% coaching and 50% execution from the players. And there's one particular play, if you ever get a chance to watch this game, 3rd and 10, Arkansas was in the whatever, I think it was prevent, it looked like. The young man, Demetrius, catches the ball. For one, he has a complete easy release off the line of scrimmage. For two, he catches the ball on a little 6-yard hook. And when he catches the ball, he has at least 8 to 9 yards still yet to get. Now, when I'm watching this play, I see guys pursuing from the back, from the sides. 6 Razorbacks, Demetrius. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 defensive Razorbacks were around the ball carrier. Still yet, he got the first down. Just exemplifies that right now, the effort and the want to and the desire that you have to play with to play defense in the SEC at a championship level They're not getting Demetrius. They're not getting it all. You're talking about 43, 425, and 503. At some point, you can talk about the coach and all you want, fans. You can talk about fire people. That's all well and good. But at the end of the day, coaches can't go out there and execute. They can't go out there and make a block. They don't get knocked back 5 yards on the fourth down play. They don't overrun tackles when they're 6 around the ball. What I see these coaches doing, these kids are being prepared and they're being coached up. At some point, you have to go out there. You have to have pride for what you do, and you have to be attention to detail, and you have to do your job. Correct? I mean, am I wrong in saying this, Demetrius? Because like I said, I mean, if you watch the tape, all the stuff that you lay on the coaches, you start seeing there's some effort involved in this, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. We got to really dissect some tape and film against that San Jose State before the show, and you pointed out a couple of things that I didn't see standing on the sideline, and I did credit a lot of what happened this weekend on the coaches, because I still think it's still a majority of the coaches, because I think the coaches have to understand they came from what we won 2 games last year, right. So we were 2-10 last year. There wasn't going to be a big jump. All these things that we're going through right now, the coaching staff knew. They knew what we were getting. They knew what players were coming back. They knew what they were bringing to the table. So again, I have to be still hard on these coaches. But you did point out some effort plays that I think have nothing to do with coaching. Are strictly, do the players want it, and are they buying into this coach? And if you ask me right now, from what I saw last weekend, no, I don't think they bought into this hammer down. No, I don't think they bought into Chad Morris era, and I think it's really showing.
I think the older guys, I think some of them, but as a group of older guys, I don't think they're all in 100%. I mean, you hear that, and I think that's something that you have to say in the program. But if you're looking at when can you really notice it? I'm not going to sit and hammer out running back play, because when you have no holes to run through, then like I said, there was a play when your offensive line was getting knocked back. Where can Raheem and Dubois, where are the running lanes? I mean, those guys can only get so much and only can do so much, but when you don't have front 5 of guys that can knock the pile back, it's going to make it very difficult to run the football. Now, I know fans want to hammer on Dubois Whalen, they want to hammer on Raheem Boyd. You got to look at the front. It's time. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. From a media standpoint, Arkansas is a long way away from being a physically dominating team on the offensive line of scrimmage. That's just point blank, period. Don't mean to be mean. I'm just being real. And the thing, if you know me well enough to know, I'm going to keep it real. And there's a long way to go on the offensive line. If you don't get more ditch diggers and road graders on that side of the ball heading into the SEC play, Chad, it's not going to be good for you. And I think this is a guy that, if given the right amount of time, could turn the program. Because, I mean, let's make no mistake, he's brought in some really good talent in those 52 scholarship players that he brought in. But I think the big deal is called EFFORT. The biggest thing that they have got to change. That's the culture right there. EFFORT. And be real with it. I know a coach is supposed to come in and say, well, I like the effort, but no. You can't like the effort mid-third quarter on, about 12 minutes of effort. It takes 40, 48 minutes of effort in football, 4 quarters. Let's be real. Let's be real. We got to call coaches out. We got to call players out. The effort, up top to bottom, has got to improve. The urgency has got to improve. And we've got to think, if you want to be aggressive, it starts on the offensive line.
Yeah,
what you think about that?
I think it has a little bit more to do than effort too, because there were some effort plays, but then I showed you a couple of plays where it was alignment and play calling as well. We broke the offense down, and there was no way Mike Wood shouldn't have been targeted more in that game. There was no way that Davion Warren shouldn't have been schemed somewhere in that offensive play calling to where they made sure he gets 5 to 10 touches. 50 passing plays is too much. And that's why I say to the coaches, these coaches have to understand their personnel and understand what they have to work with.
Yeah. And I agree with that 100%. But I also have to put that a little bit on Starker because I think there was a lot of plays called for the run game. But I think, Nick's a passing guy. He's real confident in his arm. He wants to make the big play. When they were down 24-7, I saw try to make a 14-point play or a 10-point play. When you got a guy dragging across the middle, give him a little 8 to 10 yard dunk, dink and dunk and go down the football field. You saw when they start doing that, how they came back in the game and were able to tie it up by taking what the defense was giving. I thought even more so there should have been a lot more running plays out, and from the top from where I was sitting, it looked like he was checking out audible out of a lot of really good running plays. When Devar got, I think it was Raheem got the 8-yard run, 2nd and 2 there. You throw 2 consecutive pass plays. One went to Coiling as he was coming back to the ball incomplete. You got to run the football, and I don't think Arkansas went into that football game trying to make it a point that we're going to try to establish this line of scrimmage. And sometimes you have to give Nick situations where he can't check out of a play. You have to go with that play. It didn't happen, and as a result, 5 interceptions did.
Yeah, again, I still think that's part of play calling because we know what Starker can do and we know the tendencies that Starker has as far as throwing interceptions. And we talked about it all day. Why didn't we see one screen play knowing that they were rushing 3 and dropping 8? Right. That came out of Chad Morris's mouth himself at the end of the press conference. He said he knew what the defense were doing and we still played to the defense, and I don't understand how we have such an elite or so much experience on the coaching staff and we don't see basic fundamental football plays. Man, these are basic fundamentals and essentials of football that I'm not seeing. Tackling that to me, that's everything as well. But it also, you have to put these players in the best position because we know if you look at Arkansas from top to bottom, name to name, and you put it against any other SEC team, we know we're out athleted. So us knowing that we don't have the athletes that the other guys have, it's crucial that we put these guys in position to be the best because they don't athletically compare to the guys that they're playing.
I do think the RPO game, I think adding a quarterback, maybe John Steven or KJ. I saw a lot of times in that game where if Ben just sticks it in the belly and pulls it out, he can just basically walk around the right or the left, left end and pick up touchdowns to 10, 15 yards, get out of bounds. I think RPOs have to be implemented in this offense for it to really reach its maximum goal, and that being very, very balanced. I think when you having a quarterback that can use his legs and extend plays and kind of get those linebackers to not be so up in the box has to be something that I think Chad and that staff have to emphasize to Nick or whomever the quarterback's going to be is get the RPO, sometimes stick it in the belly at the mesh point, but you got to pull it out. And the element of a quarterback run will back the offense, will back the defensive formations, quite a bit. But we're going to step away. It's time to get in the bus and head to Starkville, Mississippi. They've got a big one as they're taking on the Kentucky Wildcats. Feeling pretty good. They had a couple, hiccups, but looks like they're back on the road. We'll talk with our good buddy, Jake Wimberly of the Drive 5. Time to talk a little Hail State. More of what Coach Chief had to say, and then we'll be back. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Certainly.
Let's get it.
I'll say this, my time over there, I was treated very well, as well as I could be treated. A lot of good people in the administration, that did a tremendous job. But it's just the next game, and that's what we're looking forward to. And we got to go prepare. And we got to be at our best because they're a very, very talented football team. There's no question about that. We've got talent. I'm not going to compare the talent, but we got to be prepared, and we got to have a great week of practice. It got started yesterday, and we got some things accomplished, and I think we'll have a great practice tomorrow, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take the best preparation we've had all year.
Chief, what are you seeing different between Kellen Mond last year You tell them on it now, and your game plan against them last year, man, held them below their averages and pretty much across the board. How'd you do that?
You know, our guys got ready to play, and listen, that means a lot. You know, you can have a great scheme, and you know, if you guys aren't ready to play, but you know, our kids were ready to play. You know, we kept it simple, and that's what we're trying to do now. But as far as Kevin Martin, he's a talented guy. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his feet. You know, he's got a great group of receivers that are, you know, been around there for a while. They know what to do. They know how to get open, and he can get them the ball. So, you know, it's going to be a big challenge trying to, you know, get him where he's not so comfortable. Because if he's comfortable back there throwing, then it, you know, he can make anybody look bad.
Coach, as you said, you played better in the second half, made some adjustments stuff. Were you surprised, given that on the last series, when you guys fought back, tied the game, that they kind of went down the field without much resistance?
Well, you know, there's a couple plays.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here on KDSJ 479. And real quick, before we get off the bus in Starkville, Mississippi, to talk to our good buddy Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and our newest, KDK's Chicken at 989 Razorback Road. But we said we had to get around. You know, we like to talk SEC games of the week. Our bus, we always fill it up, and the OTH bus just moves around on the caravan. We're going to pull up, stop in Hale State to talk to the Drive at 5's Jake Wimberly. Jake, welcome to OTH, my man. You there, Jake? Momentarily, we'll be joined by Jake Wimberly of Drive at 5. You know, my producer's always getting things going. It's just, I don't know. I guess when Arkansas loses Demetri, sometimes our stuff wants to hold back a little bit. I know we're always prepared. You know, we're always going. You there, Jake? You there? You there, Jake? I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick break and we'll get this thing back organized, and then we'll be back with Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
For that, and then we got the back shoulder throw, and you know, moved the sticks pretty good, and then we got another one, and they were in field goal range after that, and you know, it's you know, those things are going to happen. Am I surprised? Yeah, we didn't expect that to happen. We expected, you know, to make plays, but obviously either we didn't have the right call or somebody didn't execute, and that's what happens, you know. And it's not the first time. And when you've coached for 42 years, you've seen it before. And you know, hadn't had many like that, but I've had enough that I understand that, you know, when certain things align, it's going to happen. And you know, we got to be able to get the quarterback off the spot, but even with the back shoulder throws, he was getting rid of it pretty quickly.
So, do you think attitude coming into the game was an issue? They did look more frenetic in the second half, and what was the message at halftime?
You know, I'm not even going to talk about, you know, attitude. Our kids, you know, we got to mature. You know, maybe, and I'm just saying, maybe we were a little immature. I don't know that for sure. But our kids have had a great attitude. They prepared well last week. Certainly, you know, we can say if we wanted to make excuses, and I'm not going to make excuses. Heck, it's my responsibility. I can say, oh, we just didn't, you know, we were flagged. No. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. You know, could we have competed better? Could we have competed in some situations and with more discipline? Yeah, we could. But again, as I say, and I'm not making excuses for anybody, that goes back to what you get done in practice. And you know, we're sitting here at the 4 ball games, and I'll be quite honest with you. You know, it's a frustrating situation for our head coach to look at our defense. It's frustrating for me because we need to be playing better, and we got to get it done in practice. You're not going to just walk out there and play better. We got to get it done in practice, and we got a list of things that we're going to get done, and hopefully it's going to help us, play better. Not going to give you that list, not going to talk about it, but we got things we got to get done in practice with a sense of urgency, and it's not a good time, but it's not necessarily a bad time, but it's not a good time to be a defensive coach. Because we've got to have that sense of urgency. We got to get it done. We can't. Hey, where we are, we can't allow it to continue to go that way. We got to get it torn, and we got to play better. Listen, if you lose a game because somebody's better than you, okay. We don't like to lose. We hate to lose. But when you don't play well enough and you got an opportunity to, then it kind of grinds you a little bit. And I hadn't slept very much. I hadn't slept very much, but because I care, not because I'm afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of anything except snakes and heights. Okay, so I'm not. I want to help this program get to where it needs to be. And by God, we got to have a sense of urgency right now to take it there.
Gee, I think before last season, we
Welcome back. Unfortunately, we had a little issue, a tech issue. We'll be joined by Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5 tomorrow at 1:15. We'll get that fixed. Sorry, our apologies for our guest, but they still got a lot to talk about. I mean, we got a lot to get into, and the main story, Coach Morris talked about was responding. In your opinion, Demetrius, how does this football team, in your opinion, how do you think they're going to respond on Saturday? Will it be a game they're going into 21, 22-point underdogs? Is this going to be a game that they're going to come out and play with a passion like their hair's on fire, or will this San Jose State version of the Razorbacks show up? Which one's how do you think that this Saturday at 11 p.m. in Jersey it will shape out?
I think that's what everybody is really waiting to see, because we know this team is not very good under adversity. So this is going to be the true first test to really see how these younger guys are going to really react, because I think with a lot of these older guys, I think they're starting to feel the pressure. Guys are thinking they have a chance at the NFL and wanting to get drafted coming out of college, and I think you might see some selfishness come within the locker room, and again, I have to see how these upperclassmen react, because I think how the upperclassmen go, it's going to leave an impression on these younger guys.
Right.
And I think it's up to Chad Morris to nip it in the butt, whether that's not play these senior guys that are going to be causing the confusion, or to go ahead and make that youth movement that I thought he should have made last year.
Right.
He's going to have to make some tough decisions this week, because if you go in A&M and you get beat across the head, and we get took to the woodshed again, and they put 40 points on us, and we're looking at 40-10 or 40-17 score, I think you're going to have a very avid fan base, and it's not going to be a good look for Chad Morris.
I agree. I think Chad in the press conference yesterday, the general feeling that I felt was, I think he really has come to the realization that the honeymoon is over. That now it's about stringing wins and more wins on top of wins. It's about this program seeing a huge jump to gain, this fan base back on board, because it's a very, very fractured fan base. I got on a couple of weeks ago and was very disappointed, but then you go out and you see that your team that you root for, that your beloved team, go out and play with the inspiration that they played with for roughly 2.5 quarters. I can see why you can't get a full house in there. I understand it. It all came back. It came very clear to me this weekend, because it boils down to effort and going out and understanding that you're playing not only for yourself, you're playing for your brothers, you're playing for the university, you're playing for a state the entire state, pretty much. If you're born in Arkansas, you're a Razorback fan. So, I mean, a lot of social media bashing, it does suck. If you're a parent of one of these young men, it sucks. And I get it. You know, nobody wants their family member to be ridiculed. But that's what you sign up for. This is Power 5 football. And you're in the SEC, the best conference in all of the land. And when you get beat by San Jose State, this is what happens. You open yourself up, Demetrius, to a boatload of criticism because you're not supposed to lose to a team that's won 4 games. And 4-23. 4-23. They've never played an SEC school, and the way that Arkansas prepared and went out and played, unacceptable, embarrassing, degrade, whatever you want to call it. But this team going forward for this week and weeks on, you put yourself in a position that you're going to have to play for respect. Not just play, you got to play for respect. Because no matter what you do, you're always going to have that San Jose State game lingering for something people to fall back on. You want to make a bowl game? Well, you made it hard now. So as your motto was earn it, you're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to earn it. You're not going bowling if you don't earn it this year based on the performance that you went out and did on Saturday and that you put together defensively for the last 3 weeks. This defense right here, with the way they're playing, the effort, because I'm telling you, it's EFFORT on that side of the ball is what this is boiling down to right now, Demetrius. If they don't find effort, it could be another long year.
But again, Pat, I really think it's more than effort, man. They have to. These coaches are wanting the team to do things that they're not built to do. Okay, so that being said, it's 2 years in, and I'm not saying change the scheme. That's not what I'm saying. But in the SEC, the one thing you have to be able to do in the SEC is the ability to adjust and adapt. That's the one thing you have to be able to do if you want to be competitive in the SEC is the ability to adjust and adapt. And I think if Chad Morris does not make the adjustments and he does not adapt schemes to the players that he has, he's going to have a hard time winning here because he keeps asking for more time to get the players he's in. But if you don't work with the pieces that you have, you won't get the time needed to bring in the players. So that being said, you have to make adjustments and you have to do things that this team is capable of doing. If they're not capable of doing, you have to take that out and scratch that out of the game plan. We just not there yet. And to me, again, if that means we're doing simple things and we're just not winning, that's fine. But I'd rather us get beat off of just not being able to score than saying, okay, the things that we're trying to do is just not working from an execution standpoint because there's no possible way that we can put points on the board or stop anybody from putting points on the board.
And I go back and I'm ridiculing the defense, but I understand that you don't ever want it's a young side of the football. I mean, there's a very young side of the football, but you can't use that excuse all season long. At some point, you're going to have to say, hey, we're not freshmen anymore. We've learned, we've got enough game reps under our belt to be considered, sophomores heading in that direction. And so that's what I see. But I just think it's a trust issue still. I think they're so youthful on this football team that their trust is almost there, but in crucial moment, the trust goes away. And like I said, you take the path of least resistance. I think you have to trust the man next to you, to the left, to the right, or behind or in front. You have to trust these guys because they use the word of brother. If you trust your brother, then you're gonna do your job, and you're gonna know your brother's doing his job. That's when the culture's changing. We talk about culture change, but there's certain instances, and excuse me, in a ball game where they're just not coming together as one mind, one body. And on the same page. Like I said, that play that we looked at prior to coming on the air, Demetrius, I mean, it can't be illustrated more evident. I mean, you gotta. This comes down to pride. And I know I've said it like a broken record on the show today, but that's where we're at with the University of Arkansas program. Pride. Put the stake in the ground and refuse to be the laughing stock. What the SEC schools use to recruit against you. You got to stop this. When they're comparing you to Tennessee and saying that's the loser gets kicked out of the SEC, whoever went, the winner stays, loser goes. I mean, you don't want to be a part of that conversation. You're a storied program, Arkansas. You've been at the top. You understand what it is to be a nationally relevant program. It's got to come back. I think the fans, and media, Demetrius, we deserve that type of stuff. I mean, we deserve to have a chance to cover, someone that we can expect to go bowling. Then I'm not saying that this season is over. I just say that they're going to have to earn it. I really believe that loss last Saturday was very damaging when it comes to needing that sixth bowl eligible win. I really feel like that. I really feel like now it's got to be a real big gut check from the offensive line and the defensive line. You have to have a gut check. And that's the way it has to be the rest of the year. You have to play with your hair on fire. You've got to get a better running game because if you can't run the ball in the SEC, you won't win a game. It'll be another 0-8 season, Demetrius.
Yeah, I don't really think they have a answer to everything, but I think they have to go back to the drawing board. I think they need to go back to the basics. Like you said, you made a good comment that I think Chad has to figure out who wants to be here.
He's gonna find out.
Chad
He made that statement to me. He's gonna find. We're gonna find out as fans.
Chad has to figure out what guys really want to play for him and what guys have 100% bought in. And if I ask you to do something, I need you to do it to the best of your ability.
Right.
And I think once Chad makes that big move, because I said this, Chad this week is going to show if Chad can really coach in the SEC, because Chad has a lot, and I mean a lot of tough decisions that he's going to have to decide at the end of this year, whether it's getting a new coaching staff on the defensive or offensive side, whether that's scratching a bunch of players and taking those scholarships and using them towards the future. Either way, I think Chad is going to have to make one of those big-time coaching decisions that's either going to make him look like an a-hole or the Godfather. But he's going to have to make a tough decision that's really going to change the direction of Arkansas, or he's going to lose a lot of these future recruits because, hey, we already know last week we lost about 2 recruits that actually were at that game and attended that game. So, again, this is going to be the next and then we have a bye week after that. So you got to think, if you go in and have a bad game against A&M, you're going to have to hear the loss to San Jose State, and you're going to have to hear about the loss to Texas A&M for a whole week. It's actually going to be 2 weeks. And then you go straight into your SEC gauntlet where you play Kentucky, you play Alabama, you play Auburn. That's a tough stretch. So, again, Chad Morris, this is a conversation that he has to have with himself and go to a mirror and really look in the mirror and say, okay, am I happy with what I have, or am I going to have to change this depiction that I'm seeing of myself in this mirror? Because so far, the decisions that I've made pertaining to this team have been kind of so-so. Even when you look back from last year, having the quarterback battle with Ty Story and Steamboat go as long as it did, we should have been had a quarterback going into the summer, going into, game one, but we're still teetering, and you're seeing a lot of those same question marks this year with the battle between Hicks and Starker. We knew Starker was the quarterback. Okay, yeah, he did throw some interceptions, but we knew that he was the better built quarterback for what we had to do. Right. And I think that experience factor is still starting to play. And again, if you're going to make this youth movement, he needs to make it. So, there's a bunch of things that I can point out, but I think he has to go back to the drawing board.
I definitely would. There's certain positions where I think I would implement. I mean, I agree that it's real imperative they get more bodies in the back end and secondary to rotate. Jalen Cadlon, Devin Bush, those guys have got to see the field. I mean, you can not go the next 8 weeks playing just 5-6 DBs, and that's going to be real detrimental. Then that's where you run up against, injuries starting to happen, pull hamstrings and things of that nature. So I think if you have to continue to build your depth and just go back to work. I think this staff will get another year intact, but I think it'll be a year that'll be real tedious if you don't finish strong. And you're checking the guys and the higher ups that make the decisions aren't seeing this program going in that right direction. I think, excuse me, that they are trending upwards. I really think what I'm watching is, and I come in here and I'm real hard, and because I have to tell the truth, I have to say what I saw and what I continue to see. But I do see talent. I see young talent. And I think if Arkansas can get through this year, I think next year's going to be better. I think year 4 here for Chad, if he's fortunate enough to be here, will be really productive. And I think that's when the program gets going. I'm of the belief. I still think he needs another class or two. Just my personal thing. I believe a coach needs 3 solid classes of his own type of player. Chad came in, only had 3 weeks. The very first class he put together, that was the Mike Woods, the bumper pool. That class right there, 3 weeks to just piece something together, was kind of surprised that he was able to get Raheem Boyd there at the end in that class. That Dorian Gerald was another big pickup. You get those guys back. Those guys are juniors, but going forward, I think it's real imperative that Nick Starkel and Raheem Boyd, 2 guys that wore that maroon and white, don't play above themselves and try to do more than what they're capable of doing. I think if they stay within themselves, Arkansas has a chance. Because I don't think Arkansas is going to lose by 22 or 21 points. I just don't think that. The history says of this series over the last 7 years, even though Arkansas has not beaten A&M since they've come into the SEC conference, it says it's going to be a really, really good game. Whichever team I feel takes care of the ball, I better cut that off because I'm about to give my pick away. So I got to stop that. I almost gave myself away on a Tuesday, but I'm just so excited. But I think Demetrius and we have to get out of here today as we have to make our way to the practice facility for Eric Musselman's media debut as the Razorback basketball team. We'll be having more. I want to make a note. Media day, Razorback basketball Thursday. Tune in. Demetrius and myself will have a whole bunch of good looking stuff from media day. Really excited to talk to Coach Eric Musselman, talk to Chris Crutchfield, Corey Williams, Clay Mosier, and that entire staff. Really, really looking forward to getting over and talking to the players. We'll have access to practice a lot during this season, as I've been told. He's going to treat it a little bit more accessible and kind of let you fans get a look into the Razorback basketball program as the season progresses on through our eyes. Now, that's the good thing, Demetrius. We get to do stuff through our eyes. And so I think fans really want to tune in for our media day interviews that we'll have on Tuesday, Friday, and on into the weekend. We'll have a lot for you. I think really will be excited. But that's going to wrap it up. We're about to make our way over, as I said, with much, much more we'll have tomorrow. Tune in for our Wednesday show. For my producer, Demetrius Johnson, to you all, to my sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. And Corey Beck's Custom Painting, commercial, residential. I mean, if you want it to look good, contact Corey Beck. You won't be disappointed. And lastly, KDK's Chicken, located at 989 Razorback Road. Go down and see Keith and Kathy and get you a plate of that love. And like they say, it's not your mama's best chicken in the South. I totally agree with that. They got a lot down there to eat. But that'll do it for us. Until tomorrow, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and